Yeah, let me go ahead and pull up the PTB changes and everything like that.
Yeah, no problem.
He's a well-researched guy. I'm sitting here at my table with a Coke, and that's it.
Okay,
No,
guys.
I got a
So-
lemon soda.
Oh, everyone's getting ready for the research and that. Right, welcome back, guys, to episode 8 of On the Hook. So, the DBD podcast. Today, I'll just do a quick introduction, guys. We have Rosie, Kirk, they've been on before. We've got Neo, who's been on before, myself. And then we have someone new, and that is TDS Darth Wage. How is it going, TDS?
It's going good, man. I've just been going through a lot of things recently with Dead by Daylight that's kind of concerning.
Right, yeah, no problem. I'm sure you've got a lot to get off your chest. So, the plan is today, guys. I did speak in the Discord and it was agreed. People wanted to do it. We'll do a quick tier list where hopefully all 5 of us agree on a tier list. Now, it's going to be subjective, but hopefully we'll get through that, and then we'll discuss some of people's issues in the game, things that are going well, things that are not going well, and that's the plan for today. So, hope everyone is okay with that. So, first of all, guys, tier list. Now, we wanted to put some rules in there. So, rules as in the criteria that we'd use for the killers. We did just discuss about 5 minutes before we went on air that we're going to base this on a normal casual game. We're not going to base it on playing the top percentage or tournament. It is just going to be our opinions on where they all sit in your average rank up game that you'd play on DVD. Is that okay with everybody on the call?
Yep.
It was your idea, so yeah.
Yeah, I'll go along with it.
Yeah, that's good with me. I'll do my own for super hardcore, sweaty competitive later.
Yeah. Well,
Thank
what we
you.
could do, we'll see how quick we get through it, and then one of the questions I have got wrote down is what would you change if it was top tier? So I have already pre-anticipated that, so I'm hoping it might only be a couple of changes, but we never know. We'll see how the list looks altogether. Right, we'll start off in the order that are on the screen. We'll just leave it nice and simple. So, Demogorgon, guys, where would you put Demogorgon on there? Bearing account, you're looking at the map pressure, the lethality, I can't read the rest of it. Mobility, map control, and utility. Where would you consider the Demogorgon?
Do you want to do it in the order that the people in the lobby are sorted?
Yeah.
Or do you want to do how do you want
I was
who
just
goes first?
I was going to leave them how they were on screen, but we can
No.
however you
Yeah,
want.
we can. Yeah,
There's no
from what I'm
talking.
seeing in the podcast, it says Jay, Kirk, Neo, Rosie, and me. So how about we let Kirk go first and just go down the list?
Yeah.
Yep, sounds good to me.
Okay. So
Sounds cool, man.
Kirk, Demo. Where would you place Demogorgon?
So as of the newest patch that's
Yeah.
coming out soon, I think that especially with half of Rat Liver being base kit, more than half actually, they made 5.5% of it base kit. The last 3% is tied to the add-on. It's not a huge difference, but it's definitely going to help. And his new cooldown add-ons for attacking and breaking pallets, I think, are wonderful. His portal changes are, great. Not perfect, but decent. His map control is going to be great. He can still do that thing where he places portals on generators. And if he does that, he's basically just like Freddie on steroids, especially if he has those 2 add-ons that lets him break stuff better.
Yeah.
And I think personally, Demogorgon is going to be replacing Freddie in a lot of places in this game. And I think a lot of people are going to stop liking Demogorgon, especially a little bit of a few survivors once they see how good his new add-ons are. But me personally, I would put him in low A tier. Me personally, so.
Right. Anybody disagree with that or agree with that?
Can't really disagree because it's pretty much what I was having my opinion of when it came to replacing Freddy as well. Eventually, everyone loves Demogorgon. Everyone, when you go up against a Demogorgon, it's always like, hell yeah, Demogorgon, Demo Puppy, hooray! But how Demogorgon's looking with his nuts patches coming out, he's going to be scary. And I've seen, we'll talk about average games, but I've also seen some really good Demogorgons play scary as well. So either high B or low A.
Right. Okay, Rosie?
Well, I don't know if anyone knows my opinion. I think he's currently the second worst character in the game. So I'd make this to say I don't think he's low A. But I will say, if we're talking casual players, I think in order to beat the Demogorgon, it does take a high amount of knowledge of the game to really exploit how bad the character actually is. So since we're talking casual games, that does change my perspective a little bit. I don't think he's gonna replace Freddie because Freddie is an actual anti-looping power, and then I played Freddie again yesterday. The more I play Freddie, the more I think that his actual nerf isn't gonna hurt him very much.
No.
So
his nerf won't.
I just think his actual the thing that makes him really really good is the teleport. I think I've fully
I agree.
analyzed that now.
Yeah.
So. But like the difference between Freddy and Demo is Freddy teleports to any gen he wants when his cooldown's over. Demogorgon's portals have to be in the game. If Demo's lethality goes up, the survivors still have control over the portals. So if his lethality goes up enough, this is theoretical because I still don't think that's going to happen because he doesn't have an anti-loop power.
Yeah.
His power is pretty much useless in a lot of situations against good players, but we're not talking about good players. But
Disagree.
But like if his lethality, assuming his lethality is good, the portals can still be destroyed. And if his lethality goes up, destroying the portals becomes a bigger priority. So he may not be able to teleport to the gen he needs to teleport to because the survivors decided to destroy the portal, which is his biggest problem in a comparison to Freddy. But that's a different topic. We can do that after the tier list.
Yeah.
In terms of casual gamers and average matches, I think he's good. He's a B tier.
Right. Okay. I think so. If we put him here, he's sort of sitting here at the moment. Everyone said about bottom of the year. What we'll do, guys, as well, is it's very hard to do this when I've just thought about it there, until all of them are in as well. So just because he's in tier now, he might get moved, obviously, from other players. Yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Sounds
Okay. Neo
So,
or Darth, anything to add on Demo?
Yeah, I'll let Darth say. I already said.
Oh, okay. Darth?
Yeah, I was just about to say hi. But no, in terms of, I mean, I know this is casual about talking about casual play.
Well, when I say casual, I mean like people who play to win but aren't gods. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well,
I'll
put this in two ways. From what I've seen in like maybe ranks 1 through 5, and a lot of people say rank don't matter, but I've disproven that several times. I mean, if you really want to get technical with it, people can de-pip intentionally to bully low ranks, but that's not the discussion. So, versus the rank 1 through 5, I would say he probably struggles. As far as him being in the tier list, I would say probably C tier at best. In terms of getting across the map, he can get across the map after he places, his portals. But the thing is, unlike Freddy, he has to actually go and place them. So, in other words, the only time he really starts getting map pressure is after he's already been across the map.
True.
Whereas Freddy can literally teleport from generator to generator depending on how many people are asleep. He gets his ability back faster. And so Demogorgon can teleport, pretty fast. He can traverse almost just as fast as Freddy after he places his portals. So in terms of him replacing Freddy, I don't really see that. As far as his chase game, it's okay. He can one-hit pallets with his shred ability, but then again, I could put on something else that does it just as fast. Because whenever you use his shred ability on a pallet, it seems like I could be wrong on this, but it seems like he recovers slower than just actually kicking a pallet.
Well,
I think they shadow nerfed him to where that's not a thing anymore. It used to be a thing when he came out, but that's what I thought. I was under the impression that he got shadow nerfed to where it's just the same.
Well, here's the
Okay.
state of it currently. When the demo first came out, his ability to break pallets was tied to an ultra rare add-on that made it like the stun only last about a second and a half. When it was changed to be base kit, they made the stun last 2 seconds instead of 1.5. Base pallet break time is about 2.1 seconds. So if you are far away from a pallet and you lunge into it with the Demogorgon lunge, it takes 2 seconds to break it. So you're saving a tenth of a second if you're far away from the pallet, which isn't much. That's why I would say before this buff that's coming up, he actually isn't that great. With this buff, one of his add-ons, the yellow add-on, decreases this time by 20%. So it's basically better than Brutal Strength to always use his shred on pallets if you have that add-on. So it's quite good. So I think he's going to be a pallet-destroying machine after this next update comes out. And the ability to mince through a map like that, and Rosie, what you said earlier about him not having an anti-loop ability, I think if your ability causes survivors to take a loop differently than if you didn't have the power, that's an anti-loop ability, in my opinion. So I think he does have anti-loop. I think he has, especially in jungle gyms. I think he's one of the best in jungle gyms if you have Rat Liver, which he does now, half base kit. I think he's in a much better place, and I think low A tier is the perfect place for him. Tourney squad, whatever, D tier, who cares? I'm saying in the game, when you're playing the game, I'd say rank 1, because rank 1 is usually like anywhere from like people who are like kind of decent to like gods. And we can talk about that later, Darth, because I agree rank does matter to a degree, but at a certain point it stops mattering. But we can talk about that later. But for right now, yeah, I'd say Demogorgon like low A, not the best of the best, but God, he's gonna be good. I think, especially in ladder.
Well, I
Okay.
didn't get to. Well, sorry. I just got to add one thing.
Yeah, of course.
Since I'm on console, I didn't get to play the public test build. I only got to see the patch notes, so I
Oh.
was only
Yeah,
going
same.
based. So I'm only going based off the information that the official Dead by Daylight site gave me to read. So I'm basically going based on what's on paper, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
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 And in the original patch notes, they didn't even show that he had all those changes done to his add-ons. They just showed like 2 random add-ons that were like meaninglessly changed that nobody
That were
cared
bad.
about.
I
Right.
think they were bad.
Yeah, but in the new patch notes they dropped, they had everything, and in the PTB I tested it out a bunch. I played a lot in this game, and Demo was one of the characters I played a lot of for a decent amount of time. So, it just I'm pretty confident that he's going to be much better now, just not amazing.
Yeah.
Question from Airless. Is the PTB going live Tuesday? Is it this Tuesday, guys? Do you know? I thought it was the Tuesday after, but I'm not 100% sure.
I don't know. I have no idea. I've heard nothing.
Not sure, Airless.
I've been looking for a date, but I haven't been able to see one.
Right.
I didn't think it was announced yet.
Yeah. Okay, let's move on then, guys. Ghostface, the man with the camera. Where would you place Ghosty Boy?
Depends. I think in a normal pub match, I'd say I always see Ghostface as dominating in like pub matches or whatever. God damn, but I guess all of them kind of do. But he's so good in pub, dude, because people just don't know how to properly expose him, and like the even like the best players like don't really fully understand it, like how you have to center him in your screen and like actually have your character facing the direction. It's so busted the way it works. Like his whole like reveal mechanic needs to be like fixed.
Oh,
But basically,
Yeah.
I'd say at the point he is now, he's very middle of the line. He's better than an M1 killer, so he's not like bad against bad survivors. Like some killers actually are bad against bad survivors still. But his ability to just like get free stealth. Stealth killers all get elevated in pub.
Yeah.
Like
So, I mean,
all
you've
stealth
got-
killers are decent in pub.
Yeah, and he's got a lethality as well if you play that stealth right. 99 in his stalk if you can't get a hit straight away, things like that. So in the right hands, I do think his lethality is quite high. Mobility, he doesn't quite have that map pressure, but does he make up with that with his stealth?
I think so. Yes,
Yeah,
I
so
think in
pubs.
pub I think in pub he's A. easy A in pub.
I honestly think so too. If it was a competitive tier list, I'd put him lower. I just wanted to hear other people's opinions on
Yeah,
that
same.
too. He's
Yeah.
very good in pub. He's
Yeah.
very good in pub.
In
Okay.
terms of ranking
Um,
up, he's A, borderline S. Honestly, he's so good in regular matches.
All right. Neo
Well-
and Darth. Neo.
Oh, my opinion with Ghostface has always been, he is average as hell, but above average. Like, he's just above average in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's I've never really seen one that's been like, oh, that's amazing, oh my god. It's always been like, why weren't you exposed?
Yeah.
It's always been stuff like that. That's how it's always been with me with Ghostface. I've always saw him as just someone who was just very, very above average, but never put him like actually high. So
Yeah. I'd agree with that. I mean,
Well,
I think Ghostface. I do enjoy playing him, but it's hard as well because I think we might have to specify if we're saying we're playing in red ranks, and depends on if you're playing. There's all these different variables, isn't there? It depends on who you're playing, things like that. I mean, for me,
I'd say
he is
red rank.
Variables, Jay. There's three
Always.
variables, bro.
yeah, he is the only one that can teabag as well. Surely he gets something
Oh,
for
that
that
puts
as
him up
well.
a
Yeah,
few
he's
views.
probably S plus actually. Now that you think about it.
Yeah, you can teabag survivors straight in the S tier.
as oh, is it my turn?
It's who's ever turn, man. We're just
Yeah,
having
yeah,
a
it
Okay.
discussion.
Okay. I just thought we were going down the list, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, in my opinion, I would probably place him upper B tier. All right. So
That sounds good.
whenever, whenever you're going into these matches, you got to realize what the limits of the killer are and what his full potential is. Like, for example, he's a stealth killer. From what I've seen so far in stealth killers, I'll say this. Most of the times, whenever I play as Ghostface, I see people DC without me ever even touching them. They find out it's Ghostface, and they just
Yeah.
automatically DC. So that alone tells me a lot about a killer that I'm using. Whenever I see people quitting just because I'm using a character, that automatically tells me that this is a decent killer or they just don't know how to play against the killer. But in terms of being a stealth killer, I think stealth killers are really suffering due to perks like Spine Chill and Object of Obsession badly. Like, for example, like I know this ain't about Myers. You know what? I'll leave Myers alone.
Oh, don't
But,
worry.
Really
we'll
quick,
get to-
really
we'll
quick,
get to Myers.
really quick. 2 seconds before you continue. Object just got nerfed in the PTB. Before you continue, but you're good to talk. Sorry about that. I just wanted to.
Yeah,
make
but
sure.
the thing about it is it leads into a two-part discussion on a separate topic. Like, for example, what was it? The change made it where now they can do generators even faster.
Yeah.
What do you
To
mean?
Object of Obsession. So
And it's not off the tear radius anymore, so being undetectable doesn't counter it. So
Wait.
you'll be able to see him again, I think, right?
Well, I can rationalize the generator thing. It really isn't as bad as you guys think. I heard some other people talking about this, but I run the numbers on things like this because the devs like to say things in certain ways that makes it quite confusing to understand how bad something is. But trust me when I say that 6% is almost nothing. Because when you actually do the math, it doesn't reduce generator time by 6%. It speeds up the pace you repair at by 6%, which is different. Like, for example, if I repaired a generator 100% faster, that doesn't mean that me touching it would cause it to repair. That means I would repair it twice as fast. So if you repair something 6% faster, really you're only reducing the generator time by about 3%. And that is if it was active for the full duration of a generator. So, but it's not. It's only active when the killer can see your aura. So, and it's a survivor perk. So, in my opinion, I don't think it's going to be that impactful because making a generator take 3% less time, when the killer has barbecue and chili, or for 3 seconds every 30 seconds, isn't going to do that much. So I think people are really overestimating that 6%. I think people are really worried about that. I don't think it's that big of a problem. But, that's just me,
well, in terms of solo queue, I would agree. I know this is casual play, but in terms of it stacking on each other 3, 6, 9, 10, 11, 12. Say you're on the cornfields, you get a 4-man generator, 4 survivors end up on it. Like, say they spawn in front of a 4-man generator. So that's 3, 6, 9, that's 12. That's almost a prove thyself by itself with combined with other survivors. You know,
It's not
and
though
if they have
because
a prove
You
thyself,
wouldn't just use
and if
all with object though. You wouldn't
I don't
do
think
that.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd all hit the same gen either. I think people would spread out.
if you had
Yeah,
object, especially, it's like if you had object, then you're just giving away your entire team, and at that point, object's a killer perk. You know what I mean? You're like telling
I
everyone where
mean,
you
Yeah.
but
are.
I mean, literally in like rank ones, I see a lot of people who will send one survivor out for the chase while 3 people get on the same generator at the same time with commodious toolbox, brand new parts, socket swivels, with prove thyself and spine
Should be
chill,
chasing
and
the person then who's going out then.
And keys.
yeah.
Keys. I think
We're not
So
you
on
just
a
went on a
topic about
tangent.
items.
we're
We just went
probably
on a tangent.
yeah, we're drifting
But
off a bit,
I mean,
guys.
I was just talking about the perk combinations
Yeah.
that could go along with it to boost it even further on top of, you know, what could increase gen speeds. But this ain't about gen speeds. But as far as it being a perk on its own, it's not. Yeah, I could agree with only one person using it. It really won't make that much of a difference. However, with an actual team, I think it could make a difference.
We're only on 2 on this tier list.
Yeah. Well, what we'll do, guys, we'll park. I know we've got. Ideally, I want to be finished this tier list by 8 p.m. Which is 29 minutes for the people who are in different time zones. So where would we say we put Ghostface on? And we will definitely come on to that discussion about gen speeds, because I know that's quite, if you don't know, Darth, you've released a video as well showing about the gen speed, things like that. So we will definitely come to that at the end, guys. But for the tier list, Ghostface, are we saying
High B.
A.
B.
B.
High B.
Upper
Like
B
top
tier.
B.
High
B.
B tier.
Right.
Also,
I'll-
hella.
Good day, Beta.
Beta
mean,
Nerf's
I'll
here's
put
I
him
here.
there.
mean,
I'll
no
put him there for now. Is he?
I mean, no teleport, not a high mobility killer, none of that. You know, like you compare that to Hillbilly's map pressure. There is no comparison.
Yeah.
You compare that to Freddie being able to teleport all the way across the map from any range. There is no comparison. A part
Yeah,
of
but
protecting
Freddie,
gens and map pressure.
but Freddie's
See,
not going to be A
yeah.
tier. He's going to be S tier in this tier list. If we're talking about like
Yeah.
on like a tier list against like normal players, not tournament players, he's going to be S. But anyway,
Yeah.
let's continue.
Okay. Bubba.
S. S
No,
against
stop,
casuals.
stop,
Against
stop.
casuals.
Oh,
Against
casuals,
okay
casuals,
players.
S,
Versus
complete S.
casuals,
Against okay
yeah.
players trying to win. Okay players. I'm gonna say he's probably like maybe high B against okay players trying to win. High B. Not garbage,
Yeah.
not casual, but like okay. You know, but
like
that's me
rank 8s.
personally.
Anyone disagree with that?
I
I
still
just
think
think
he's
B.
S. Like,
I
against,
think that's
against-
fair.
I think it takes a high caliber team to actually kite him. I think he's really good now, but that's me.
All right.
I don't. If
Well,
you
what-
really want to take the middle ground, let's put him A. If we're like trying to like even him out, but I really think B is a good place for him because I'm gonna put probably like Billy above Bubba, and I don't feel comfortable putting Billy in A tier right now
I
with the way he
don't.
currently is.
Yeah.
I don't.
I think Bubba needs more chase perks and synergy with his chase perks than some of the other killers aside from his one hit down. I feel like Bamboozle is a very common perk that you see on him,
Yeah.
as well as like Corrupt, because there's no mobility unless you're going chainsaw speed mobility across the map like that one dude did.
That's rare though.
But like I said at the beginning, guys, I think this tier list will change once it's done anyway. So we put him into A for now, and then we'll reconfigure the tier list when we get to the end. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Alright.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And by the way, if anyone is afraid to talk about a killer, there's a few killers on here that I do not play, and I do not feel comfortable giving too much of an opinion on. So, like, if you don't like want to give an opinion on a killer, you don't have to. If you do want to give an opinion, interrupt. You know, make sure you get your opinion before we move on. But like, only killers, you know, you understand or like watch a lot or play a lot. One or the other.
Okay.
You know?
Can I ask one?
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah.
What is everybody's opinion of the new Trickster?
The
I think
Trickster.
he's not the worst killer in the
Trickster.
game anymore.
Trickster, we'll get to Trickster at the end because he's really the last one.
He's not
Okay,
that
okay.
bad.
We will.
Oh,
I've made my thoughts perfectly clear on the Trickster, so you don't be surprised at what I think. Right, clown guys. Clown,
Oh boy.
where would you put the clown?
B.
B and gets casuals.
Against
B against casuals.
Yeah. I don't want to call them casuals because when I think casual, I think like rank 10. But like when I think like decent, trying to win, I'd say B2. Yeah, he's okay in B.
Yeah.
He's fine.
I think he's got a decent chase game in the right hand.
Yeah.
But as far as like actual map pressure, getting across the map, being able to prevent gens from getting done, I mean, if you're going against at least a half decent survivor who knows how to loop, it's like, sure, you get it down. By the time you hook them, gen done, or 2 generators done. You know, like I said, he's got a decent slowdown in the chase, but as far as actually preventing generators from getting done, I think he really suffers a lot.
Yeah.
He's a pretty good 3-genner though. Like he's really good 3-genning.
Yeah, go on, Neo.
I was gonna add something to that. I think like a lot of people get the term map pressure mixed up with like the chase mechanic, because realistically, if you can end a chase in 10 seconds, like Spirit or Nurse or something like that, at the beginning of the game, you have no map pressure. Everybody is able to do whatever they want until you get your first chasing down. Get your first chasing down so fast, someone has to save and go in. That's map pressure, you know? So the ability to down constantly quick, and the fact that he does counter a lot of loops with the slowdown, force, and medium vaults, I think that the fact that he ends chases so well is map pressure. That's pretty much the definition.
Eventually. We went over why hooks aren't very good. Like the first hook is why it's not actually that good. That first hook is not
but the
very
first
good.
chase is also incredibly important as well. So to like, first chase is your most important thing because you have no pressure. You have nothing going for you. So I feel like to say the first hook is bad, if you get your first hook in 10 seconds, you've pretty much, if survivors to find a gen and then to get through gens as well, especially when you're talking about average survivors who might not know all gen locations, I guess. Like, I feel like it's very, what's it called, contradictory to say like the first hook doesn't matter when the first chase is literally the most important and is the reason why Lucky Break is going to be incredibly fucking busted if they release it the way it is.
God, I really hope they don't. That part's gonna make me nauseous.
I have faith they won't for some reason. I just think they know.
I have faith as well.
I think with the clown as well, I think I'm probably the only person that actually likes his yellow bottles. I see value in them yellow bottles.
Yeah, the yellow bottles definitely have value.
Yeah.
I've seen the yellow bottles and I've seen people use them. They actually have value.
Yeah.
And just people underestimate those yellow bottles. Even people who do play clown really underestimate those bottles.
Yeah, yeah.
I've seen the numbers on the yellow bottles. I don't think they're any good. It's gimmicky, in my opinion.
Yeah, yeah.
But when you get it down with them, you feel like a king, dude. Let me tell you something.
Yeah.
When your screen's going yellow and you hear in your ear, you're like, yeah! Like when you're catching up to somebody that's slowed down, bro.
Yeah.
Nah, but he's high B. He's not as good as Leather and Chase, but he's good.
So high B then, we're saying.
Yeah, B.
Everyone
From my experience on average, I've noticed like if I'm not downing a survivor every 20 seconds, then it like I'm just basically from
That
my
never
personal
happens,
experience.
Every 20. You mean like taking 20 seconds to finish a chase? You mean not like every 20 seconds?
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Depends on the team though, too. But I get what you're saying. Yeah, if we're talking like
I mean,
the
that's
average
true.
high rank team, like usually they're not very good because at high rank you have a combination of good players and like amazing players, and the amazing players are so like that minority is so small. That's why it's like better to rank it against like decent players. So it's like that's how I usually do it.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I mean, I've came across like whenever in terms of average survivors, like it kind of irritates me what they base these killer nerfs off of, these statistical charts. I mean, it could be so easily, the statistics could be so easily manipulated based on people depipping and everything like that. But once again, that's another discussion.
Yeah. And we'll definitely we have you on the podcast to talk to you about all this stuff. So it could just be like right after this tier list or whatever, we can get into all that because you're the
I know. It's hard to say one thing, without bringing up another topic and getting sidetracked into that topic.
You're fine, no problem, man.
No problem, Darth. Right.
But yeah, I would say, in my personal opinion, for clown, final verdict for me would be D tier.
B.
Whoa.
Oh, D. D tier there.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Ooh.
disagree, but that's
We might move him. We'll
Yeah.
see what the end result looks like.
Oh, if we ever do competitive tier lists, a lot of killers will be going down.
yeah. I think competitive is
okay.
only like
Yeah,
3 tiers. But
versus casual players, slightly average players, average players. Yeah, I might bump him up to C tier.
Okay, we'll leave him where he is for now then. Doctor guys, the doc.
Okay, Doctor. Oh my god.
I'll save my
With
opinion.
Doctor-
I'm terrible at Doctor. I'm
Can I
garbage
just
at
be
Doctor.
honest? When it comes to Doctor, when we're talking about average players, so many people are really bad at Doctor.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying, but we're talking about if the killer like understands them like 75%, not like a god.
If
like,
they
that
understand him
understands all the small
75%, then if they understand him, okay, average players will fucking suck at the Doctor. That's
No, I
just
agree.
how it is.
Right.
But people who actually play Doctor and play him quite a bit, Doctor's pretty scary. And considering
Very strong
being
anti-loop.
able, just also having the fact of being able to find someone that quickly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
very-
he's A, borderline S against
For
casuals
me
again.
personally, I would put him here. I'd put him in front of these three, but don't know about
This
you
stream's on a
guys.
delay, so I'm just
Yeah.
waiting for you to catch up.
I would put him in front.
I would
put him in
say
front of demo and that, but
Yeah, A, borderline S against casuals.
Yeah, in casual,
I think
definitely A is
average,
S.
Versus
average red rank casual.
versus
maybe.
casuals, yeah, I could probably place him up in A tier or something like that, because combining
He's
him
definitely
with
better than those
whispers,
three.
with distressing or crowd control and blood dragon, with an already strong anti-loop, he can be scary. Especially versus average survivors who don't hardly do skill checks.
Am I schizophrenic? What's
very
Blood
well.
Dragon?
Dragon's Grip.
I mean,
Oh,
not
well-
Dragon's Grip.
I didn't even
the one that
realize that
blocks
was
off
a thing.
pallet.
That's actually really. Oh wait, what?
The one that blocks off
Favor?
pallet.
Oh, blood favor then.
Blood
Right.
favor. My bad. My
Oh.
bad.
I thought you were talking about Dragon's Grip and
I
popping
thought he
your
was-
shocks to give you
yeah.
pop gens. I was like, that's kind of cool.
No, I was talking about blood favor, where it blocks a pallet with him already having a strong anti-loop. So you hit him, it blocks the pallet. They go for a window, hit him with shock therapy. Now they can't vault or dead hard or none of that. So you could really cut them off from all loops. So that could be very strong versus casuals.
Kind of interesting. Like, I've never actually thought of that before. At Shack, that could actually work. You deny pallet, block the pallet, and then they're sealed inside Shack. They have to
And
run away
crowd
normally.
control, blocking the window.
Well, no, but that's only post after they've already vaulted it. I thought you were talking about trapping people inside a building after they.
Yeah,
drop the
you
pallet
can do it.
affiliated
Yeah, you
with
can
it.
do it either way. I mean, either
Yeah.
way it works.
Well,
It's
yeah,
like
I think
anti-loop
he's.
on
I
top
just
of
like
anti-loop.
to bomb people with Doctor. Fucking hit the obsession. There goes the terror radius. Time to bomb people.
Well, we're talking like, against like survivors who understand the game 75% of the way, and the killer also understands it 75% of the way. I'd say he's A. I think that's a good place for him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Definitely
could
better
agree
than
with
those three.
Yeah, I think he's above those three. Right, Hag then. Where would you place Hag?
If you camp,
S.
if you camp,
Yes.
S.
S against casuals.
If you camp, she's like unstoppable. Survivors have no idea what to do against her up until like the highest level of play. It's actually kind of scary sometimes how bad people are against her. And I think like even against a team that like mostly understands the game, they still don't know how to counter her. For some reason,
Yeah.
nobody knows how to counter her. I'd say she's
Finding her
definitely
web and activating her traps when she picks up people can be very, very tedious depending on the Hag player. So I'd say S is pretty good.
Yeah. I think people struggle against Hag massively. Like you said, once she's got that one hook, that's it. It's normally GG because people just struggle.
throw
to
themselves
counter her.
at the traps.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Billy then. Billy.
I'm trash at New Billy, but I think he's also pretty bad because he gets punished too hard. And I think I think you have to be a god to play Billy, so the average killer is going to get absolutely dumpstered. But I mean, because his chainsaws just never hit. I mean, you can 360 like a lot of Billy's now. His fucking hitbox is so tiny, and he's like, if you miss, you get stunned for like 45 minutes. It's just like, ugh, it's exhausting and it's brutal.
Yeah.
I would say in the right hands, especially versus casuals, I would probably place him probably upper B, in my opinion.
B.
Versus we're
Against
talking about
casuals.
versus casuals, not the top percent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Billy is just an amazing killer, but you have to be really fucking good at him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very demanding.
Yeah.
Very demanding. Just keep him there. Honestly, keep him below clown for now.
Yeah,
Like, you have to be so good
against
to be good at Billy.
casuals, and just an average killer. Yeah, the clown has a better probability of being better than the Billy.
I think so too.
I'm very surprised that you. Goddamn, I'm very surprised. Surprised at that. I think I just lost my train of thought. Fuck.
Yeah.
No, okay. So I think the average Billy player is gonna know to tether and is gonna know like some of the smaller like Billy things, and I think the almost near unconditional mobility.
Yeah.
As I said, almost near. I still think he should probably against casuals A, against a good team B. So like, I think like the fact that one shot down for me is pretty consistent.
Yeah.
But even when
the
average Billy curve.
Yeah. See, my sorry to interrupt there. The only thing I'm looking at here is when I'm looking at the criteria we've set: map control, map pressure, mobility, and lethality. He surely has more than quite a lot of these people. If we look at that.
Yeah, but the problem is
average Billy. Sorry, go ahead.
The thing is, if we're talking, like I said, I personally think Billy is actually better than a lot of these killers that we've already done.
Yeah,
but that's just the thing.
I agree.
And even if we're talking about like an average player, even an average player who plays Billy will not do overly well because of how well he gets or how much he gets punished just by a simple feck up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then what we're looking at what we're saying is this is a tier based on the casual players. So we're looking at playing against casual survivors. So we're not looking at top level Swift stuff like that. So we can't really see, because are we going to place the nurse down here because of a skill level? Whereas for me personally, I'm looking thinking actually we're not talking about the skill level of the player playing Billy. We're talking about how he would do in a casual game, a chill game. So for me, I think he'd go higher. I understand where you guys are coming from, because you're saying, well, actually, if you go against a casual Billy, but I think we're looking at the other way around. So imagine, I don't know if any of you guys play Billy. I don't play Billy, so if I went on, I will probably fit all the criteria that you mentioned. However, if I'm going up against someone who plays Billy, they don't have to be red ranks, they don't have to be a top killer, but someone who's competent with him, would I expect him to be higher on here? I think I would, even if it's just a casual game.
His mobility, the tether, and the zoning that he has is actually still really good. So I feel like just those mechanics alone, and if we're saying the Billy's not an average player and it's just like a really good player against casuals, then I think it deserves the A.
If it's a really good player against casuals, then Trickster's S tier. I'm saying that if the killer is 75% understanding of the game and the survivor is 75% understanding of the game, how do those base off each other? Because the average player is garbage. So I'm saying like if you have like people that understand the game but aren't gods, then like how are they going to play the game? And I think that it's easier to play clown at like a 75% level than it is to play Billy at a 75% level. I have 4,000 hours in this game almost. I struggle with landing chainsaws sometimes if the survivor knows how to move. And like maybe that's me being garbage trash, but like if I have to focus as hard as I can to like center my mouse on a survivor, exploiting the movement system to go back and forth, like I mean, look.
Well,
but
if you know Billy at 75%,
well.
you know less than the clown player does. You know less than the doctor player does. It takes Billy, especially because of the nurse, it takes Billy to be at around a 95% level to get results.
Right.
I agree.
I think personally, I think map design also plays a part.
Yes.
But that's also a different discussion.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to leave Billy there then? We'll leave him, and then if we need to change anything, we can change it at the end.
Put him at the top of B, just to like quench the people who are saying that, like, clown, he's worse than Clown, because maybe he's not worse than Clown, but I don't know.
Insane, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like maybe above Clown, move Clown to the right. It's hard to put people at the front.
Yeah, I'll put him there. Yeah, right. Okay, Huntress.
S against casuals.
I would say, yeah, if you're trying to learn the game and you got 75% understanding of the game and you know how to throw over pallets and everything and time them correctly, and I think, yeah, she's leaking into S.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah,
S or high A.
Yeah, versus average to bad survivors. Yeah, I'd place her S tier.
We're not talking bad though, so stop saying bad. That's why I don't like those two words, bad and casual, because these are people who want to win but aren't gods. That's what I'm going off of.
To me, it don't really make a difference to me personally. I just put them in the same category.
Okay, so I have a question.
Huntress is she's hard to learn how to play against because of all the fucking latency issues. Like, you don't know where you even need to be to dodge the hatchet sometimes because you can just be 40 feet away from it and it'll still hit. It's kind of bullshit.
I have a question about the criteria for this. Are we assuming that the survivor knows to what's it called, not throw the pallet down and try to bait the Huntress hatchet? Because if the survivor knows that, I put Huntress at A. If not, then I'll go at S.
I would say that the survivor understands how to loop, but maybe doesn't always know when to drop the pallet early, but they know sometimes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not always playing perfectly, but you're sometimes playing pretty well. That's like a 75%. Like, you fuck up, but you know what you're doing.
Because with Huntress being like my second most played killer, like my number one rule for like Huntress is when you're being looped, I don't raise a hatchet at the first, no matter what, or the second almost. I pretty much M1. Because like that's just assuming the average survivor is gonna know that most Huntresses want to like raise the hatchet, and then not throw the pallet down. So if they know how to do that, then I'd say A. But I agree pretty much with that.
You've seen her buffs in the PTV. Like, people say she's nerfed. I think she's better, personally. But
the speed one throws a lot of things off, but I find that add-on really cool though.
I think that's insane.
I mean, it does throw things off, but as soon as you get used to those speed hatches.
No, I don't want another rat liver add-on. I don't want like
this is gonna
add-ons.
No. This is gonna be beautiful.
They probably created one. Let's not kid each other.
All right, let's move on, guys.
Trash devs.
Legion. The Legion.
Where would you put I'd say C. Like, say a player has to be like a total god to do anything with Legion, because they have to be great at M1 mind games, and if you're just like a slightly above average at M1 mind games, so bad survivors are just going to drop pallets in your face, and you're either going to vault them and then do nothing to them when you're on the other side, or just take the pallet and break it and then you just go to the next one. I think he's terrible.
Here's my question: are we assuming healing is taking place? If healing's taking place, he goes up 2 tiers.
Depends. Depends
I think the average red rank is going to heal against the Legion, and that makes him infinitely better.
If you heal against Legion, he's S tier. I'm sorry.
I'm not S.
I wouldn't say S. I wouldn't say S. I'd put him at B.
I'll put it like this: I get a big grin every time I see Legion in a match.
Me too.
Like, oh thank God, it's Legion. Me,
yeah.
D. I don't even care if it's versus casuals. D tier, in my opinion. His ability gives people borrowed time.
If there's healing taking place, he's at least B. That's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And he has conditional mobility at the cost of his power, and he can also pick up while using his power. So if he does have to slug, he can go back, or if he has pop, he can also use his power to do that. And the average survivor, the height of Legion and everything, I think height is a very underestimated factor, because like a lot of loops where you're like Plague, like versus Legion, the height, being able to moonwalk or being able to just being short in general also helps in those M1 situations. And I do think the average survivor plays really bad against I just think the average survivor plays bad against Legion, but I still think he's only B. I don't think he's any higher against the average.
Should we put him at B then? Right.
I think, him being short, that's a really good point.
It hurts my soul so much.
I know, Leo, that the resident Legion main, but you will have a chance at the end to change him.
I am known for three killers, Legion being one of them, And
75%. Remember, you're a pro, so we're
yeah,
basing it off
yeah,
75%.
I know. But the thing is, the thing is, you say 75%, but even the 75% when it comes to Legion, still don't know.
Yeah, I'd say the lowest of B. I think him being short keeps him out of C tier, but I think
Yeah.
still lowest of
Right.
B.
Okay, let's look at Freddie then. I'm presuming he's just going to go
S.
straight.
I think this
S
is
tier,
easy.
yeah.
S. He just
S,
shits on that.
yeah.
By all
Like,
means, yes.
you
yes.
need good survivors to beat him. If the team
Yep.
isn't good, he's just a pub stomper. We
Yeah.
saw that from the stats. I mean, stats like like competitively stats lie, but like they don't lie if you're talking about what we're talking about right now, which is like high ranks. Like how he performs against survivors at that rank that are trying to win but aren't amazing. Freddie just curb stomps.
Yeah.
He's in casual
Yeah.
matches. He's probably the best killer in the game.
Okay. And do we
Yeah.
all agree? I've sort of moved him myself, but do you agree he's ahead of Hag and Huntress?
Hag, yes.
I
Yes.
think
Yes.
people just crumble to him for no
Yeah.
reason. I guess if you don't understand the game well enough, but yeah, he just curb
Freddie
stomps for no
makes
reason.
you give up.
Yeah.
I've tried to play as Freddie in both my matches. People surrendered. Like
They just
I think
DC, like,
another
yeah.
factor is because he's getting nerfed. They just feel like they don't want to deal with it anymore
Yeah.
because he's going away.
He's
But
not really
like
going
in both
away
my
though.
I
matches,
mean, you
they
gotta-
just surrendered.
Me as a Freddie main myself, you gotta understand like what we went through just a few years ago.
Yeah.
Fred, let's be
Yeah.
honest. Back in the day, Freddie was in his own tier of shh.
Yeah.
Like,
definitely.
let's be honest.
But we're
So he
talking
got
about
his
like
rework.
how he does now.
So he got his rework because he was literally the worst killer in the game at the time. He got his rework, and then he became nearly godlike, especially versus pub stomp, versus casuals, average players. Yeah, I would say S tier, but not versus the top percent.
Yeah.
I'm sure we'll come to that. Ness,
Yeah.
guys, Ness. Where would you put Ness?
It's a crime not
It's-
to put her S.
Got
It
It is a crime.
People who 75% understand the game, I think maybe she's probably going to be like bottom of S because like
Agreed.
because it's I think a 75% understanding nurse is like they understand how to blink, where to blink, but then the survivors also know like basic jukes, and I think at that point she's still amazing, but she's not like god tier, so she's like bottom of S. I think that sounds good.
Right, okay, I'll leave it there. Oni, guys. What do we think about Oni?
A tier.
I
Probably
curb
throw
stomp
him
with
in
him, but I've gotten a lot of practice with him, so I don't know. I don't even know how bad Onis play because I don't really watch bad Onis.
Like
I never see them.
The snowball
somebody who
is
knows
stupid.
who knows how to use him versus some casuals.
Even
Yeah,
75%,
definitely A
absolutely
tier.
insane.
A tier all the way.
I think
Yeah,
he's
too.
top of A against casuals.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
I
fair
mean,
enough.
he can get his power back so fast. All you hear all game is "Rah!" Like he runs out. "Rah!"
The info doesn't matter
It's
though.
like all you hear the whole match.
Yeah.
Hey, Demo screams the whole match too.
Very true.
True.
They're
Right.
screamers.
Okay,
Got it.
pigs already been spoken about. I think was Earless mentioned
Uh-huh.
about pig being important. What do you
They're
all
about
guys
to,
think
they're
about
about to
pigs?
destroy my baby.
Okay. So like yeah, from my experience, if this like I said, if this was a top percent, we're looking at totally different stuff. I think Pig
Yeah.
actually moves the most out of
Yeah, I
any
think
of
I
these other
believe so,
killers
too.
Yeah.
when you're comparing casual to 20. I think she moves the most distance out of any killer 'cause she goes all the way from D up to like probably B. Like she actually has a chance
Agreed.
against like at like red ranks against like the average survivor you
Mhm.
meet there. I'd say B for sure.
Yeah, she moves up definitely in casual play.
The thing is,
Anyone disagree?
It's hard. It's hard for me to say this because whenever I first got the game, she was one of the killers I was most interested in. But average players, yeah, I could say B tier versus good players that actually know what they're doing. I would say she would go down to lower C to maybe upper D tier.
See,
okay.
Reaper Tech put on there, and I sort of agree because in my head, what I was thinking, if I was to go on a casual game, I think the pig's got more in her arsenal than Ghostface, for example. I know people might disagree with that because she's got the slowdown with the mask, with the head traps. Whereas she's got
Her
that
stealth
Ghostface
is-
hasn't.
The thing is-
stealth isn't as good as Ghostface, obviously. But
Do you
The
know
thing-
how many clowns heal against her when her timer is going off? Like, for real.
The thing,
Trash.
the thing
really-
that burns me, like, not to interrupt anybody, the thing that burns me about playing as the pig the most is that there is no real perks that benefit her power. You know, like, for example, I don't get why unnerving presence don't affect, the jigsaw skill check boxes.
right.
Don't get it.
Right.
That sounds like entitlement from a killer man. That's to me.
What?
Yeah, bro.
I mean,
Boo,
a skill check
entitlement.
perk,
All right, let's save the arguments for later. Let's save the arguments for later.
Yeah.
Come on. Jesus
where-
Christ.
All right.
Brutal.
Okay.
I kid. I promise I kid.
All right, Jay, I'll...
I
kidding.
personally would have a higher, but I'll go with the majority for now, and then I might
Okay.
tweak things
Do
around.
you mind if I say something? with
Yeah,
this
go
one?
on then.
Because
Yeah.
like I mentioned, there is 3 killers I'm known for, Pig being second. Pig, the problem is the 75% of players who would play Pig, the problem with it is like they won't understand like more of the text of her. When it comes to 75% of people who play Pig, most of the time they will only understand the M1 side of it. A lot of the time they don't even understand the dashing, even because only the top tier Pigs actually understand the dashing properly. That's the problem with Pig. Like versus casuals, it's just an M1, but it's going to be completely average like everyone else. Because a lot of the killers you can win with being average just with M1ing. The thing is, what makes Pig actually powerful compared is usually only the top players that do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
the major problem with Pig. Like,
This is what we're talking about. Yeah, that's what we're saying. Like these are killers. Like you're jumping in. You kind of have a basic understanding. You have a basic understanding of this specific killer, and you're going in against people at your skill level. And then I'd say that what you just described pushes her from D to B. But we're already at where we're pushing Pig to. So I think she's good in B. I don't think we need to push her farther.
Well, okay.
it's going
I
to
have
be
one
honest,
more thing
compared
to
to every
say.
other killer, I think she's C.
I have one more thing to say about her. The problem with analyzing her, this is not only for a casual tier list or 75% tier list, this is for any tier list. The problem with Pig is I think she's the only character in the game that fluctuates her tier depending on her RNG results.
Yeah.
If she gets 3 to 4 boxes of 3 to 4 boxes where everybody has to run around and check all 4 boxes, even in hardcore competitive game, I think she goes up a tier for that. And if there's 3 to 4 boxes where everyone gets it in the first 1 or 2, she falls a tier for that. It's impossible to rank her because her tier fluctuates by match as well as by person playing her. That's why she's so hard to analyze.
Well, let's move on. Let's put her top of C then, because I think she's low B. I think top of C could be argued because RNG. RNG sucks. That's why I have Trapper so low. But RNG sucks.
We'll
maybe
put her at C for now then. Plague. Where does everyone think the Plague goes? I know, Rosie, you're going to say bottom, aren't you?
Oh, hold on a second.
I can't
You
even
can
really
counter
give an
Plague
opinion.
by walking.
I can't even give an opinion on that, honestly. I don't hardly ever see her in a match.
Yeah,
But that should tell me a lot about the killer if I don't ever see anybody play her.
There's like 23 killers too, to be fair.
I think she has
Well-
hag
True.
syndrome. I think she has hag syndrome where like people just don't understand how to face her really, and if
Yes.
they give her the fountains and
I mean,
everything, she can just
sure.
curb stomp. It's like disgusting.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, she really can. I mean, I would, based on me using her personally, I would place her probably A tier if you know how to use her. I mean,
say
if you
A
can,
as well.
if you can play the mind games with that puke, force them into cleansing. If they're dumb enough to cleanse, then yeah, I would say A tier. I mean, you could literally, in one ability, knock an entire team to the ground.
with infectious, oh my god, she shreds pups.
Yeah.
Shreds pups.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you want to take advantage of her weaknesses, I thought I mentioned this when I talked about how I think she's bad. But like, if I didn't, if you want to take advantage of her weaknesses, she's like Freddie. You have to be a good group of survivors to actually take advantage of her weaknesses. In regular matches, she's A tier. She is.
People underestimate how much of the game mechanics that she generally counters, kind of like Pyramid Head with countering borrowed time and DS, or Plague not only counters like med kits if they get broken and whatnot, but also counters other things like self-care, Iron Will because you can hear him throwing up and stuff like that. Like she's a really solid hard counter to a lot of the top perks, which I feel like is underrated. The only thing that I don't like is she can be stunned out of her power, and
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of players now do cleanse against her. I don't know. I guess the average survivor, like, I don't know, probably doesn't have an idea of how to go about it.
It really varies. I play quite a bit, and it just really
Same.
varies. Yeah, it just varies. Sometimes you'll get a team that'll cleanse quite often. Most of the time, you'll get a team that tries not to, and then you just end up winning quite easy. It just varies. I don't think there's.
I mean, sometimes one person cleanses and then they all feel pressured to do it, I guess, because they're on solo queue and they all have different strategies against her and they're not talking.
Yeah.
So
that's how I do it. Whenever I go solo queue, I don't cleanse until I see another survivor cleanse. If they do it, I'm like, well, why not? She's already going to get her ability. I might as well at least be prepared for it.
Yeah.
You know.
All right. I've put her in sort of the middle there. Myers. Where do you guys think Myers should be?
Oh no.
Versus casuals, I would say lower C. Ugh.
I refuse to say he's better than Legion. I fucking refuse it.
No, I refuse to. He's not better than Legion against casuals.
Even a half decent survivor can still basically loop the life out of Myers. I mean, you got a stalk killer who literally has to spend like a majority of the time. If you're not using corrupt intervention, you're going to suffer. You're going to struggle if you're not using corrupt intervention on Myers. I mean, versus average survivors, even my opinion. Lower C.
Does anyone not think somebody needs to take the D spot? Is he not?
Oh
no?
God, no!
Are you being kind to him?
No.
Well, I mean, against casuals, I don't think there is a D tier. Personally,
yeah, there isn't.
Okay, so we'll put him in C then.
He's not better than Clown. I don't think. He's not better than Billy.
The thing is, every single kill. Let's be honest. Every single kill here is a fucking pub stomper.
Yeah, true.
It's about who can stop harder.
Spirit next, guys. Spirit. Where would you place Spirit?
Easy S. Easy S gamers.
And put it top of S. You can just stand still against the average player and she'll walk right into you, yeah. People still do the walking into you with the staring contest. I love it.
The mind game potential on top of the chase potential, yeah, definitely yes.
Yeah. Okie doke, nice and easy. So Trapper next then, guys.
Boo, D.
Oh, Trapper.
Trapper with or without basement.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sorry. Yes, D tier. I'm sorry.
D tier.
Someone in the basement against casuals is A tier.
Against casuals with the tar bottle, if he traps someone in a chase, that's an instant down. Against casual 75%, I don't think he's D.
The problem with this tar bottle now is that even on McMillan, his traps are now they're much brighter because of the grass and all the graphic updates. Like these graphic updates have killed his tar add-on a little bit, and the RNG update to make it a little bit easier after your first attempt or whatever and progress. Like you can kind of like the RNG was usually I felt like not in your favor when you got stuck in his traps, but against casuals, I don't know.
Yeah,
and there's so many things that literally. There's so many things that counter his ability, though. You know, go ahead.
The problem is he is going to be D unless we talk about his add-ons.
Yeah,
that's just the thing. Yeah. Like, are we going to bring bags? If we're bringing bags, then he's definitely higher.
I mean, it doesn't even matter. Currently, right now. Before the PTB comes, before the changes come, as he currently is, without the changes, what's the point of putting on the tar bottle if they can just detect him with a perk? Perks like small game. I know it's getting changed. I get it. It's getting changed, but I'm saying for right now, we can only judge it based on right now because. It is right now, current. Yeah. So right now, as he currently is, there's just so many perks that counter his traps that I just really see him as D tier.
Right.
There's just too many ways to counter him.
Yeah. We'll leave him as it is at the moment. And Wraith, where would you say Wraith goes? The new and improved Wraith.
Against casuals, A.
Yeah.
I would say upper. I would say either lower A or upper B.
He no longer needs Windstorm, and he can. I feel like he's what's it called? Pretty damn good.
Okay.
Kind of
All Seeing Blood is good.
Yeah. Would you say he's better than Bubba, Ghostface, Demo?
I think he's with
I wouldn't
Ghostface.
say all that, but...
So,
he's not better than Bubba. Neither is Ghostface, I don't think.
So Ghostface, you're saying?
Yeah, he's definitely not better than Ghostface.
Who's not better than Ghostface?
I don't know how y'all. Where are y'all finding these bad? I mean, these good Ghostfaces at? Like,
Yeah,
everyone that I play against, I break them out of stealth, and if they don't have recovery, they have to wait like 20, 30 seconds to get it back. So like,
I literally
even in solo queue, it's just like if you're aware of your surroundings, which the average player should be.
I literally use his power. I intentionally have them break my stealth so I can find them faster.
Yeah, you don't care if you get broken out of your power.
Yeah.
All right.
I just bring the pin add-on and I get my
M1 Timmy.
Yeah.
I just bring the pin add-on and I recover nearly instantly.
You know how hard it is to like actually break him out of his power without fucking up during a chase? A 75% survivor is probably gonna fuck up.
It's not. I don't know where these good Ghostfaces at. I just want to know.
I don't.
It doesn't take a good Ghostface to
Ghostface.
punish when they screw up and run into a wall trying to reveal him. It doesn't take a top Ghostface to punish that. They just get hit because they're running into a wall and not moving.
We'll move
I
on,
am
guys.
totally a
We'll
top
move on.
Ghostface. I am thankful.
Thankful, yeah. Ghostface is a bit of a mixed bag for me. I do like him, but whether or not I agree with him is a different thing. Deathslinger, or Shitslinger, as Rosie likes to call him.
Shitslinger, my boy!
Where would you put him on the tier list?
I don't see good ones. I don't see good
I've
Deathslingers.
seen.
Oh,
I've
you better
seen
go back
some
and watch
scary
my
ones.
streams, baby.
I
You better
have
go
seen
back and
some
watch
scary Deathslingers.
it. Yeah, free
Yeah, but
zoning.
average.
I would say B tier. I'm sorry. B
Yeah,
tier.
I'm putting him in against casuals. I'm putting him at like
Casuals,
top
Oh,
A.
okay.
Borderline
Yeah.
S.
Yeah.
He's his chase potential is insane with his terror radius as well, and just being able to constantly aim to zone. It's so good.
I love my boy, bro.
And like I think if we were talking about this, like factoring in the best structures, which are like the jungle gym long wall and the shack, he plays those incredibly well. So
He has aged so well. Like, can we just say that? Like when we came out,
everybody
was-
he's weak. He's weak. He's weak.
everybody
he's
that
not.
never
Great.
played Call of Duty was playing terribly, baby.
So, okay then, we'll leave him there then. What about Pyramid Head? We've got 4 more to go.
A to S.
A to S.
A to S.
Yeah.
I'd say
It's
low
weird,
S.
Just don't add a second S to that.
When you factor in competitive nature, that's when it really starts to change. But like against average teams, like this is why the devs aren't concerned with changing a lot of these characters, because when you really do like a casual tier list, like look how different it looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pyramid Head pub stomps it a whole different way that just about no other killer can do. He
2
can
seconds,
cancel.
really. Sorry, I just realized I was muted on the Deathslinger conversation, so nobody heard what I was saying. I thought I was being ignored, but I fucking had my mic muted by accident.
We were
Sorry about
ignoring
that.
you, bro.
No, bro.
No, dude, I heard you. We were just we didn't think you had anything.
we heard you.
Really quick, because my opinion differs from all of yours. A Deathslinger that only hits 75% of his shots is fucking D tier. Like, because he has no map pressure. And if you're like a decent Deathslinger, you're nothing. I mean, look at I don't want to call out names, so I'll just say some streamers I watch who hit like most of their shots, but not all of them, just get stomped. Like, even if the team is average, like, people know how to repair a generator. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. I think he is much worse than A if you're only 75% good. Like, if you're
I don't think
you know,
being 75% good means you're hitting 75% of your shots. I think being 75% good up close still means you're hitting 100% of your shots, and you can still use it as a 1.
Yeah, I think with the
by
Deathslinger,
definition.
for me, I think if we're putting Billy down on the fact of how hard he is to play, or how people
I
might
agree.
be using, I
Because
see what you're
Billy's-
at here. For the reason that we mentioned for Billy, you can still say I'm a bit aggrieved about Billy there, but I
Yeah.
just think if we're saying by the average user, then for me he would go there. But I'm happy to go with the majority for now, and then obviously we can
I
change
agree
it
with
after.
B.
I was gonna say, if
Slightly
you're
above
talking about,
average.
if we're saying like we can't use the 75% argument because if a Billy that hits 75% of his chainsaws is going up above his rank right now, and a Legion that misses 25% of his frenzies
No,
is going down. It's
Missing
just-
25% of your chainsaws, that's huge. If you miss, you need to hit like 90% of your fucking
If you
chainsaws
miss
to do
25%
that.
of your chainsaws, he's going down to CD.
Dude, that's bad. Like only missing 25%.
If I hit 9
if you
chainsaws,
based
which
it
are
on
one-hit
that,
downs.
if we based it on that, even Freddie would go down. If you're missing 25% of your teleports, then you're losing gems.
Missing teleports,
You
bro. You
miss-
don't miss
You can't
teleports.
go to the wrong one.
You see what I mean? Like,
No, I don't.
Well, no, I don't.
yeah, like
I've
accidentally
accidentally
teleporting
teleported to the wrong
one.
gen.
Depending
Worst
on
case
your
scenario,
build,
you
what
walk
I'm
another
saying
20
is
feet.
depending on your build, if you're not using an information build like Tinker with Discordance and you teleport to the wrong one, if you're missing 25% of those,
But who doesn't run
Well,
information on
who
Freddy?
does that?
Yeah, right. Who
I'm just
doesn't run
saying,
Tinker in partnership?
I'm just saying, if you're basing it on,
Let me
like
explain.
for example, the chainsaw is Hillbilly's power. If you're basing it on him missing 25% of his powers, of his power attack, then that's like saying Freddy missing 25% of his teleports.
No, because you can correct a Freddy
No.
teleport by walking. To correct a Billy teleport, you have to or a Billy's chainsaw, a Billy teleport, a Billy chainsaw, you have to recover from a 3-second stun, catch back up to the survivor until you're right on them, and then attempt a chainsaw again.
You're trying
That's
to do
so much time.
map control ability. You're trying to compare a map control ability to a lethality ability. It's not working.
But anyway,
Will-
Jay's
will-
circling his mouse because he's getting anxious. So let's move on to the next
you can
character.
see. Yeah, I keep forgetting you guys can see this. Right? Okay, Blight next, guys.
Blight in the right hand.
Can they do the
Why?
flick? Is my question.
Because I don't even care about the flick. Blight on PC against pubs is fucking stupid.
It's really dumb.
Console
Yeah.
is absolutely garbage.
I don't even play Blight.
Killer.
I don't even play Blight in a pub stomp. I literally just toyed with him.
No,
Your
Well, you gotta
closing
understand for us
distance
console
and
players,
mobility
right?
is insane. Like
you gotta understand that flick to us console players is like the hidden gem. Like we admire it so much.
so,
where would
Just
you put
under Pyramid Head.
under
I probably put
Pyramid
him
Head?
in.
S against casuals though, yeah.
Just under
Yeah.
Pyramid Head.
Right.
I can
Yeah,
see that.
definitely.
Okay.
Because he doesn't get free hits, but he gets hits. You know what I mean? Like he
Breaking,
can really...
breaking a pallet and closing distance between tiles, which also essentially turns into kind of zoning if you get ahead of them, is
And you
just
can-
really good.
And you can do that thing you
Yes,
do with
if
Deathslinger
fucking
too.
thing work.
Yeah. Okay.
If these things work.
Let's move on to two left now. The twins, the two newest killers. Where would you put the twins?
Playing her 75% efficiently, I'd say pretty low.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say
Are you sure?
I disagree.
Hang on, guys. There's too
They
many
are-
people talking at the same time.
I
Sorry,
definitely agree. I would say lower C.
I'd say low B.
Against casuals?
No, but 70, like I said, you're tied with them. You're both the average person, let's say watching a Dead by Daylight YouTuber is better than average, but not a god. I'd say they're probably low B. You know what I mean?
What you thinking, Rosie?
I think they're really good.
Yeah,
Versus
I agree with
casual,
Rosie.
Yeah,
I think they're
go
really,
lower
really
B.
good. I think
It-
they're A.
yeah.
If you
Lower B.
So can I want to make my argument, I guess. But
Yeah, okay.
so I feel like first off, Victor is probably the strongest power in the game in terms of just the 6 meters per second mobility, his weird wonky hitbox on downing people. Not only that, but their ability to slug in camp, which is already essential as a killer, having that built into their power in general against pubs is absolutely annoying and tough to deal with. And Victor being a motion sensor from Call of Duty Black Ops 1 is absolutely incredibly underrated. And the hag play style that they have, in addition to being able to slug very efficiently once the ball gets rolling. I do think against pubs they're very annoying to play against. Even a person that knows 75%.
I'm going to be honest, in my opinion, I think she's better than Blight. To be honest,
Yeah,
my opinion.
I think
No.
they're really, really good.
if we're talking about a 75%, definitely better than
Yeah,
fucking
wait,
Blight.
wait.
I think having a setup though with the twins is what separates it. Is you do need one or two people maybe injured, and I think that's what kind of in the closing distance of being able to close gaps with Blight and stuff. So
And if the map RNG is bad, like you gotta like M1 killer some people, or you have to attach Victor to people, wait 30 seconds, attach Victor to someone, wait 30 seconds. It's just like unless you're a god with her and you know exactly how to slug, what to do, what steps to take, I'd say low B.
Like the
Personally.
last time I played them, like I legitimately felt carried. Like honestly, I felt carried as fuck because I was on Haddonfield. They were gen rushing me, and then just at one gen, I just popped off, and then after the match, I was like, I got carried there, dude. I got carried so hard.
it happened to me last night when I played twins as well.
Yeah, I'm gonna put it in A for now because I know we've got a dispute about this one. Last one is
baby.
Trickster. Anybody?
I think unless you're playing,
but it's up
I
to
have
you guys.
seen I have seen Twitch streamers like if they're like
There's-
I have seen Twitch streamers like who know how to play Trickster, like genuinely laser people with their knives, and I think those people, you know, they can make their own tier list with Trickster. If we're talking like someone playing Trickster up to the 75 percentile, he is quite bad. He is quite bad.
If we're assuming a D tier exists, he's in it.
Yeah.
He's
At
better
this
than
level.
Trapper though.
I would
He's better
literally
than.
place him the worst killer in the game.
I think
would
he's
as
better
well.
than Trapper. I think he's
If-
better than Trapper.
If you're not playing him perfectly, I think he's okay. Playing him perfectly, like I have pretty okay respect for Trickster nowadays. I think like playing him 75%, you're just like asking to lose. Like just like I don't know. You have to be like an actual aim god.
They put a killer in to help you intentionally D rank. How nice of them.
It's not that bad, but
So are we saying D
I-
then
I keep-
above Trapper, or are you saying C?
I feel more
He's better than
confident as
Trapper.
Trapper than
D,
Trickster. I don't play either of them anymore.
D
But
in my
it's like
opinion.
someone
D?
who doesn't play them.
Above
Definitely
Trapper?
D.
If there's a D tier, he's in it. I still
There's
don't
a D
personally
tier.
agree with the existence of a D tier against casuals, but if there is a D tier, he's in it.
If
Right.
this was competitive, I'd have him higher because he's better
Yeah,
than Trapper.
you don't even
But-
have to be good to beat the Trickster.
Yeah.
You don't even.
It just goes into the it just goes to the side of the game where I personally think Trickster is better than Trickster's better than Pig, but
I was gonna say Trapper and
average
Pig. He's
player.
better than, in my opinion, as well.
yeah,
All right.
But Pig
just
just
average players. You guys, no one only there's you don't really have average players when it comes to Trickster. You got 99% bad,
Yeah.
and then you have the good players.
That's the thing, though. I think like
the
a lot
map
of people
determines it. Sorry.
that too. No, you're right. You're right. Those like I was just playing on Yamaoka Estate's Trickster today. I felt like almost helpless. You know, I felt actually almost helpless, and it was just like I'm an average. You know, I'm like a 75% Trickster. I understand M1 mind games, but you know, I'm 110. You know, I'm 110, so my M1 mind games almost don't matter. And then also like you know the all the things to block knives. It's just really unfortunate. But I think like unless you're like a god that can laser people and like knows how to like scare people correctly, then I think that he's better. But like for the purposes of this tier list, definitely a bit lower. But if you guys want proof on that he's not garbage too, you should watch some of Ryuga's videos on Trickster.
Yeah.
I think you'll change your mind about him being bottom of the bottom. But like, for the purposes of this tier
The
list,
reason,
D.
and this is why I'm going with whatever you guys say on the Trickster, is because if you asked me, then my tier list would probably look like this. Where's the other one? There. And that's just because I can't aim. So you know, I'm not given a very good
like that's what it would look like if I get you.
yeah, do you see what I mean? I can't the killers that I have to aim with, I'm not very good at aiming. So straight away I'd be like, if I was looking at my own tier list and how I play, then the three would be on there. So I do think I'm doing a Trickster a bit of this not justice really, but I have been playing with him a little bit more, and he's definitely improved on how he was when he first came out. That's like 100%.
If we're going to talk about that, Jay, if we're going to talk about that, that means my pig would be S.
Yeah. So, but all right, guys. So I'm just conscious of the time. It took a little bit longer than what I thought. What do you think if we said based on competitiveness? Are we still looking at just Nurse and Spirit at the top?
Blight too.
And Blight.
Blight's definitely up there. If we're talking like tournament.
Yeah, J Flickin, Stretch Res Blight. Oh yeah.
I don't do Stretch Res, but I just J Flick and I can dominate. Like
I've seen the
97%
clips.
of the game.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just put everything at D, and then
Honestly, I have thought about totally reimagining how people like rate competitive like DBD. Like I think in like competitive real DBD, this is a discussion for another day to get really into. But I think there's only like 3 tiers in like competitive DBD. There's
I agree.
God,
I agree.
there's God, there's viable, and then there's useless. And I think useless is the biggest tier, but you do have some people in the other ones, and I think that would be interesting to do sometime. I do think that'd be an interesting tier list to make sometime. I don't even know. I don't think anybody's done that. God would be like
God,
Nurse Spirit
viable
Blight.
against average teams.
Yeah.
No. We're talking about. I'm saying tournament level
If
now.
you do competitive, I was kind of alluding to this earlier. If you do competitive, there is a fundamental shift in the placement because right now S and A seem to dominate, which is absolutely not true for competitive DBD.
Of course
if you
not.
do competitive,
Oh,
if you do competitive, like killer is not viable. Just the
Yeah,
role of killer is not viable. So a lot of the killers that have to play killer traditionally go
All right,
down
Rosie.
severely.
Let's not get too
this
pessimistic.
whole list will be
You know.
different in a competitive tier list. This whole list will be way different.
Yeah.
If we ever do another tier list, let's actually. I would love to hear a bunch of people's opinions on like against the top of survivors if the killer is being played to the maximum potential. That could be interesting someday.
Yeah.
But for right now, this is good. I think to for people who are watching and if they want to decide, hey, what is viable at red ranks? Not necessarily against the best players, but like if I just want to have fun and like not be hopeless, who should I stick to? Who should I avoid?
Yeah.
And I think if you're just playing averagely, those top 2 rows are fair. Like those are all viable if you're playing like pub.
From a casual point of view, yeah. And for the people on the chat, I know some people are disagreeing. Some people have said a few different things. I've put it on there. Obviously, feel free, guys, to join the Discord server, and we can discuss it because we've got actually a server for the tier list, and people are constantly discussing in there. So feel free to pop in and give us your opinions. Okay, guys, so we'll leave the tier list as it is for now then. Now, Darth, you are our guest this week, and like I was saying at the beginning, I know you've released some videos about Gen Speed, about Freddie Nerf, things like that, and I have linked Darth's channel in the description, so you can check out these videos in the description already. But let us know what you think, Darth. What's your thinking behind... Should we start with Freddie Nerf?
Yeah, I'll start with. Well, I'll just put them both in one because they both tie in with one another. Because I've heard several times they call it the Forever Freddy build with Anatophobia, Dying Light, Swing Chains, and Jump Rope. A lot of people get mad and they rage quit due to it. And honestly, in my personal opinion, it's mostly the people who don't use. Like me, I play in rank 1 a lot. All right, so my opinions can only come from what I see and experience in red ranks. What I see and experience in red ranks is that all of that Forever Freddy build does not even matter. And in my video, whenever I show gen speeds, whenever done right, using the actual gen rush tactics with like a Commodious toolbox or an engineer toolbox with brand new parts, socket swivels, prove thyself, and the new one, fast track. You combine all of these together. Like whenever I did a test in my video for the gen speeds. Yeah. Whenever I went solo, I went against Forever Freddy solo. I literally got a generator done in 60 seconds solo. And then whenever we 2-manned it, we did a generator in 22 seconds
with brand new parts.
Just 2-manning it. But and then when we 3-manned it, we got it done in 14 to 16 seconds. And whenever we 4-manned a generator, we did a generator in 8 to 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, I mean, the real question is, whenever it comes to gen speeds, if you come across a coordinated four-man SWF who is using this perk combination, how is it fair that the survivors can literally get a free generator just based off of bringing that combination of perks and items? What am I supposed to do in 10 seconds?
Well, let me say something. So I actually watched your video because I like to have respect for people's opinions even if I disagree with them, and I like to make help make sure people understand like how a game is meant to start in DBD and like how different ways it can start like affect the rest of the game. And I think that the way you're describing, those are actually some of the most underwhelming teams to go against. Because if you have 4 people, let's say you have 4 people all with brand new parts, they all start on the same generator, all finish it in 8 seconds. You now know where every survivor is. They only have one gen started, and it's the only one that's done. So none of the other generators are started. And most of the time, especially if you're playing Freddy, you can pinpoint those survivors' locations with Discordance, Tinkerer, and even the generators being completed, going in that direction can ensure a chase. Now, if you're saying, like, the scariest survivors, in my opinion, aren't ones that bring, like, all generator repairing perks. The scariest ones are the ones who bring no generator repair perks, just meta, and then split up. So I think that Forever Freddy, like, while you're right that, like, Forever Freddy wasn't impactful against those, like, brand new part, whatever, toolbox survivors, it really is inconsequential in the long run because what really matters is, like, if they help survivors split. So you're right and you're also wrong because, like, Forever Freddy doesn't matter, but it's not because of brand new parts. Like,
I think you're right for the wrong reasons. It's not an impactful thing in the game. It's not, but it's simply it's not an impact because if you just split up and do the gens, the debuffs they get from Forever Freddy are not sufficient enough to actually stop the overall progression of the game. The debuffs they get are not equivalent to the amount of time they can have you in chase if they're good.
That's what I was just about to bring that up. I was like, well, it's not like we're talking about some trash survivors. We're not talking about ranked 20s. We're talking about the top percent here in this part on the Gen Rush discussion, because this would also, there's several factors that play in too, as far as like map RNG, for example. Like, a lot of people like to go to the Macmillan Estate because, like, for example, maps like the Suffocation Pit, 3 LT walls side by side leading to pallets to pallets to pallets to the main building to Kill Shack, and you can literally, like, that kind of loop on a Gen Rush, and survivors that are actually confident and actually know how to loop and Gen Rush at the same time. Like, we're not, like, I see a huge issue with that. I mean, I've went against some really crazy survivors who literally, like, at sometimes there was literally nothing I could do to stop them, no matter what build I brought in. And I literally tested that. And that's not because I'm a bad killer. It's because the gen speed was so fast, I didn't even have time to complete the chase. By the time I downed him, because he's actually knowing how to chase, he literally completed 2 generators in less than a minute.
I think
that's what I'm saying.
See what? And we discussed this today. I discussed it with Captain Salty and Kirk as well. We had a little bit of a discussion about it. And what we're going to do next week, guys, is we're going to start reviewing some of your videos. So if you wanted one of your gameplays reviewing, and we were going to discuss the start. Now, I said what happens for me personally when I start a game. The first thing I do is I scout out the map. So the first thing I do, I look around to see which gens, how my gen placement has gone on the map. I automatically then have a bit of a strategy of which gens I need to defend it, like, with my life, basically. So I'm like, okay, I've got 5 gens over here. These 2 gens, not too bothered about. Which, it's not a case of me wanting to lose them gens. Of course, in an ideal world, I want to keep them. But they're the gens that I'm going to put least priority on. And I think, is it not normal, especially if you're playing a good team, that you are going to, even when you find somebody, you're going to lose 2 gens anyway?
Easily. Yeah.
And that's going to be...
Unless they're bad. Then you lose 0.
And that's going to be pretty much a standard, because I think by the time you locate a survivor, chase, down, hook, then it's not unusual to hear like 2 gens pop, and in a worst case scenario 3 gens will pop, and then you're sort of on the back footing straight away. But
Yeah.
I totally get the point that you're trying to make with the gen speed, but I think, Kirk, you hit the nail on the head when you said, actually, the issue isn't stacking on the gen, because I have discordance for that. If you stack on a gen, that's perfect. I know where to go, and I'll try to interrupt. It's when they split up, and then if you have 4 survivors that go, 4 gens, you can only interrupt one of them, chase that one,
Yeah,
and
I
the other
mean,
3 are doing the work. So I can sort of see where you're coming from, but I also think there's
yeah,
counters to it as well.
sure, discordance, sure, it'll tell you where they are, but you're going to take 5 steps forward and the gen is over, and they've already got enough time. Okay, say for example,
Yeah, but if they have 4 brand new parts, bro, like remember that video you made with
yeah,
the 4 brand new parts? You know,
yeah,
that like wasn't with like 4 stars on a gen.
yeah, but you could do it in 14 to 16 seconds with 3 man with 1 person on the chase. So 1 person runs forward, you're trying to get across the map to the generator they're at with discordance activated so you can see it, but you're not going to get across the map in 14 to 16 seconds.
It doesn't take
That's what I'm saying.
It takes about 33. If you have 3 people on a generator,
Yeah.
if they have prove thyself, even it takes 20. So
that's
it never gets.
So that's still plenty of time for them to split up and go off and do their own thing.
But I see here, I'm in the middle on this because there was a point as soon as Ruin was nerfed, back in 2020 January. Like I thought Discordance was the best perk in the game. After that,
it's amazing.
And in solo queue standard matches, I still pretty much hold that opinion because you're not but like when you're playing good survivors, you'll never see Discordance go off because they know splitting up is the actual meta of the game. And I think when Ruin was nerfed, like I didn't know that because I think Ruin getting nerfed has made me a better player of the game, and I'll say that in retrospect. I don't know if anybody agrees with that opinion. Ruin's nerf made me a better player of Dead by Daylight.
I think so too.
But like Discordance, I thought that was standard on every single killer as soon as Ruin was hit. But if they're gonna gen rush you, they're gonna gen rush you with or without Discordance. That's what I've learned from playing the game.
Well, my opinion on that, I think the Ruin nerf made everyone better at the game because it no longer required great skill checks to actually do a generator, providing no slowdown. As far as that's concerned, I thought the old Ruin was perfectly fine. Whenever old Ruin was here, I literally had no problem doing a generator. I had no problem finding a totem. Totems. I mean, you could literally spawn in front of a totem.
That's why we're saying it was bad.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that the perk did not need nerfed. I just think that
I don't think it was nerfed.
Of the change going in, I still think as a killer, I think my fundamentals improved and my understanding of the game got better because it was nerfed. Was it the right decision? I still continue to believe it wasn't. But
really?
As far as me personally, I think I became better because it wasn't there anymore.
I think Ruin is much better now than it was before. I think they buffed Ruin.
I mean, you got to realize what it was in place for. Once again, this goes back to that discussion of gen speed. It was literally there because gen speeds were going by so fast. That was the only thing slowing them down. That's why back in the day, in the 2.0 updates, Ruin was meta.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but there is a hole. When they nerfed Ruin, this is why I don't think it was the right decision. When they nerfed Ruin, I do agree that that left an early game hole that is yet to be filled. There is a hole in the game that is yet to be filled in terms of the killer's ability to slow down the generators. That hole is yet to be filled. New Ruin doesn't fill the hole because it's your ability to actually down them, which if you're good, if they're good, that's not going to happen at the rate needed to actually stop the gen rush.
Yeah, but Corrupt Intervention does partially fill that glass. Not fully, but to say that Corrupt Intervention isn't in every competitive high level game. I mean, it is.
It is, not to cut you off. That's why I run it in rank 1 all the time. That's all I will use anymore in rank 1 is Corrupt Intervention, just so that way they can't immediately gen rush me from spawn.
That's why it's good.
Yeah, that's the only in my opinion, I think Corrupt Intervention is like meta at rank 1 because without it, you're just going to get gen rushed and they're going to get done with it before you can even get across the map to them. So and save the best for last, speeding you up in the chase. Some people have varied opinions on it. I prefer to be faster in the chase because every second on the clock counts in red ranks versus a competent team. Every second counts, and being faster, that's what you need to be. You need to be as fast as you can, getting from gen to gen, getting down, getting hooks, kicking generators, moving on as fast as possible. Franklin's demise, for example, knocking the items out of their hands, that has its own slowdown within itself. Just like Pop Goes the Weasel has its
Not
own
against a good
slowdown.
team, though.
Nah,
Yeah,
Franklin's
well-
is pretty bad against good teams.
Not really. I mean, with save the best for last stacking up, they try to pick it up in your face. Guess what? You can recover fast enough to just knock them to the ground with your item.
Only bots do that, though, picking up an item directly in front of the killer.
I agree with that, but I'm just saying.
Face.
Yeah, I mean, I get that too, but
You guys have items?
I mean, I think I watched that video, Darth, about the build, and I think the main thing that stood out for me, and I'm going to give you some credit here in regards to it, because when I watched your videos with Thrillin', you actually admitted on one of the videos that you're not used to having it on there, and I found the same. So I tried your build, and because you get into a different, like a certain style of play, and you just get into habit, don't you? So I was like running save the best for last with Franklin's. I'll admit, when I did play that, I got rushed hard. Now, actually, I had an object team, the West Swift, and they'd done a gen so quick that actually I thought, you know what, even if I had my own build, I'd have struggled. It needed Corrupt on there. And I don't know if you've seen the video when I played Brothers Team last week. I changed my build slightly because I had to have Corrupt on there, because I knew that the Discordance, like what Rosie said, wasn't going to make any difference. They were a good team, they were a tournament team, they were going to split. So I just put Corrupt on to buy me a bit of time. But I think the game's so situational that there's different things for different maps. There's different play styles. But I just found with Freddie, I can't personally use him as a chase killer. And I know people will say, well, you've got to chase with all the killers. But for me, Freddie is about splitting that pressure on the map. And that is using his teleport. That is baiting the Thrillin'. Again, I played a game and the bait didn't work. I never fell for it once, so it's again situational, but it's there for that reason. But yeah, I think it's quite. I think when you watch a game, I'd like to think when I watch your game, I'm like, yeah, this is your play style. This is the way you play with save the best for last, and you're used to that. Whereas then if I put a game on with me with the same, it's going to be like, oh, I've got to save the best for last. I'm probably hitting the obsession. I'm not disciplined enough. It's just because I just don't run it normally.
Can I say something really quick? Sorry,
yeah.
just this is for Darth. And I'm not trying to justify the Freddie Nerf or anything, but you're used to this certain play style with these slowdown add-ons and everything. I really highly recommend that you go from, if you want to you seem like the type that wants to win, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Everyone likes to win. But I'm just saying, Freddie is known for his perk synergy. That's the main thing that makes him powerful. If Pop Goes the Weasel, Corrupt Intervention, these perks didn't exist, Freddie would be much worse. I think
I agree.
I think you need to get a little bit more, experimental, and I think you would find that those slowdown add-ons did practically nothing. And I think, I'm sure, I don't know what you think of the Freddie nerf. Can you tell me, how do you feel how it's going to push him down? How much do you think it's going to push him down?
I think it was unnecessary. Changing swing chains to increase sounds of footsteps, and it's already been alerted to everyone that it's bugged, and then changing jump rope to a watered down version of Strider. I mean, I don't get why they would replace action speed penalty. This goes back to old Freddy. Right, old Freddy was known whenever he pulled somebody into the dream world, they got a 50% action speed penalty, and then they reworked him, and then they gave him,
nothing.
A little segment of what he was capable of, with, and then in order to get back to that 50% action speed penalty, that Forever Freddy build literally gave Freddy his like 50% action speed penalty roughly around like 8 stacks or 7, around 6 to 8 stacks with max stacks of Thanatophobia. It literally pushed him up there because swing chains and jump rope is like a 12% action speed penalty, because the way swing chains works is each individual survivor gets like a 1% action speed penalty, which would be 4%. If they're all asleep, it is multiplied. They never gave the specific number of what it's multiplied by, but it actually turns in 4% turns into 8% if every survivor is asleep. And if they're all asleep, jump rope adds, 3 to 4% to that. So that would be like, 11 to 12% action speed penalty towards generators on top of 20% of the Thanatophobia on top of,
slowing down the healing for the Thanatophobia and so on and so
yeah.
forth.
Yeah. So that is literally what brought new Freddy and combined it with old Freddy's action speed penalties. However, like I said, at red ranks, it just don't matter. And I can agree with you. We have 2 separate play styles. I can agree with that. But as far as the Freddie Nerf, I really don't think it was necessary. From what I've seen versus the very top percent of players, even without the Nerf, like versus a very good team. I mean, like the top percent. Even the S tier killers and A tier killers already struggle. So nerfing him, even further now while he's already struggling versus the top percent. Sure, a majority of the community is casuals, but I don't necessarily think the nerfs should be based around casual gameplay. I think the nerfs and competitive decisions should be based around the top players, the top percent of players.
I agree.
I mean, because what's going to happen is whenever you base all of your nerfs around average survivors or bad survivors, and whenever the average and bad survivors get good, what's that leave the killer at? That leaves him getting bullied and picked on.
Totally. But I'd like to expand on that because I actually come at odds with a lot of people who like say that you shouldn't balance around the lower percents. But here's the thing. And this is just the way my brain, makes the logic, fill out or whatever. But if you have a team of, good survivors versus a Freddy, they are not going to be negatively impacted by that forever Freddy. Like, they're not going to give a shit about it. They're going to keep themselves awake or they're going to ignore it. Do you think that, no, listen, please. Do you think that a Freddy, who already people don't really like going against, should have a thing that only makes him better versus bad survivors, especially if those bad survivors are getting like emotionally fucking tortured by how boring it is. You know what I mean? Like, because I know when I play against a Freddy who is forever Freddy or whatever, I'm not necessarily like, oh, we're gonna lose. I'm like, oh my god, it's forever Freddy. I don't think anything like that should exist in a video game in this type. You know what I mean? Maybe a powerful Freddy with Ruin and, whatever, because that's just any killer's going to run Ruin Undying, whatever. But, like, there's something particularly obnoxious about holding M1 for an extended period of time, and if it's already bad against good players, why should it be good against bad players? You know what I'm saying?
Well, here's my perspective on that, because you brought that up to my video on Freddy's Nerf, which and I never answered. My perspective on that is it's in the right niche. Even though Forever Freddy isn't good, what that add-on is trying to do is in the right niche. It's in the right what it needs to be doing of slowing down the gens. Could they be reworked to be less obnoxious? I mean, if you really want to go that route, I guess it's possible. But it's in the right niche of slowing down the generators. Is it not impactful? Yes, it is. It's not impact. I think all of Freddy's add-ons are not impact.
I
Freddy's
agree.
not an
There's
add-on
a big.
killer.
He's
These
not.
So hold on.
Suck.
Hold on.
For real.
So hold on. To be fair with that argument, is you're saying basically that it's boring to play against him because the gens are going so slow, but yet the counter argument is gen speeds in general is like you're saying it's boring to play against him because the gens are going too slow for you, but if the gens are going too fast, then it's perfectly fine.
No, I'm trying to say that there should be some kind of other change fundamentally to Freddy that makes him able to compete with top teams. I don't think that thing should be just something that tortures people who aren't playing perfectly. I think if you get beat by a player, it should feel like, man, that guy just dominated me. And like that should be like the fundamental like basis for making any character in a video game like, oh, that guy just shit on me. Like that should just be how you feel. It shouldn't feel like, man, like I just kind of just took a long time to do everything. So this normal M1 killer caught me 3 times and hooked me 3 times and I died. You know what I mean? So I think there's a
Yeah.
fundamental problem with Freddy having shit add-ons, having, you know, a kind of a boring kit, if I'm being honest. I mean, you know, you can tell me if you agree with me, Wage. This is my personal thing I would change about Freddy. I would take away snares. I'd take away dream palettes, and I'd bring back the old way he puts people to sleep, but just incorporate the generator teleport.
No,
No,
I don't
and
know
then
about
incorporate the generator teleport.
Let me
I
watch
feel like
And
if you do
I
that,
don't-
he's gonna be down 2 tiers.
But listen, here's what else I change. If you watch old Freddy videos, there's a lot of, not actually, there's a lie, there aren't a lot of them, but there were a few Freddy players
Fine.
who knew the timing of those little invisibility blinks as a survivor was falling asleep.
Yeah, I
And
was one
there
of
was
them.
no indication for that for the killer, but if you memorize those, you could mind game survivors very, very like interestingly. I think if they made that sleep process visible to Freddy, like let's say his screen would change colors based on whether or not he was invisible, that would be a much more enjoyable and it would be powerful if you knew how to do it correctly. It
Well,
would
here's
basically
my
be
perspective
You're right.
on that.
It would
If-
be
what's
enjoyable
the-
for survivors.
oh
I
my
agree.
god. What's not enjoyable about mind
mind
gaming?
game them when I can just go up and hit them?
Because
Like, why-
snares are fucking boring and uninteractive, and it's not like you do different things with snares. You always do the same thing with snares. Like I said, we're not talking about power at this point. I'm saying I want him to be powerful and also interesting. And there's
They're
nothing
not boring to
interesting
me because they
about a
work.
snare.
In a game where everything doesn't work, something that works is entertaining to me.
I guess I can understand that.
I don't think the snare. I don't think he's
Mm-mm.
boring because he works.
I think,
I play him and I have fun playing him because he works.
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Right.
I think that.
Bringing him back to old Freddy. No.
Yeah.
No. People doing a gin in your face and all they have to do is keep escaping the dream world and there's nothing you can do about it because they keep on the
That was the
refrigerator
best.
with
Well, you know,
fast speeds.
There would
No.
be more changes than that.
Never.
I would also make it so that skill checks can't wake you up anymore if I were to go back to that old Freddy. I would make a few changes besides that, but I have a totally different vision for Freddy that I don't think a lot of other people have. But
Well, if I'm going to be
yeah,
honest with you,
if you don't
Kurt,
agree with me.
I would honestly prefer to have old Freddy back than this current Freddy.
You know what's
a lot of
bad
people
though
do.
is
A lot of people say that.
Wow.
A lot of people say that. I mean, I think.
Woo.
See, that was
ahead.
who was that? Sorry, did I interrupt someone? I might have interrupted someone there.
no, you're good.
Oh,
You're
no.
good.
Go ahead.
All right. What I was going to say, guys, is I think the reason why we're looking for next week at the podcast, it was Kirk who came up with the idea instead about reviewing games because Captain Salty had quite a few things to say. And it wasn't right for this week, and it wasn't right just because of the context of what it was going to be shown at. I thought us just speaking about it, although I agree with all the points he's making, it wouldn't have made sense. So I think, like I said, guys, join the Discord, put in clips of your games, like put in your gameplays. Obviously, we'll review games. We don't want to see a game where you've just stomped a team and got
Yeah,
4
games where
kills.
you lose.
Yeah, show us games that you lose, and I'll put quite a few of those in myself. I know Beta, you said he's on the chat. He said he's depipped a couple of times.
Yeah.
Usually, I think when you
Just
look at
Trickster
them
though,
games,
mainly.
yeah,
And please, only games you lose. I don't want to watch you come back and win against babies. I
Yeah,
don't.
yeah.
I have no
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
And-
if you want really good examples, go
Or
to
you-
like most of Rosie's DBD streams.
What are you
Go to his
talking
Ghostface
about?
Game. Go to his Ghostface game on
What are you
Azerov's.
talking about?
Go to the Azerov's Ghostface game and watch him only
Yeah.
stay on one side
Now-
of the map, and his
I'm
undying
not even
lasted
playing
7
Ghostface
minutes, and
on
he complained he
Azeroth.
got popped early.
yeah. The
This was like
reason
6 months ago.
I have the way that I've only lost on Azeroth is fucking Tricksters.
I'm gonna.
This was 6 months ago, Rosie. I was watching all
6
your old
months
ones.
ago.
I will
Holy
say.
shit!
I will say on
I got a
here,
fan, bro.
guys,
Let you go, let you go.
guys. I will say on here, the big streamers do it. True Talent had a video, and I'm a big fan. I do watch his videos, so this is not shitting on him. But he had a video, and he was playing as Bubba, and he put on Bubba playing the top percent. Now I watched True Talent chase one guy for about 3 minutes. he missed and he made quite a few mistakes in the chase, but he still carried on chasing. But then he said the gens were done too quick. So I think it happens across the board. I don't even think people are exempt from it. I think the issue is when you're in the game. Done it myself. I was playing a game and I had this argument with Captain Salty saying these people were top percent. He's like, they won't be. I'm like, they are top percent. I'm going to put a video up. I'm going to put the video up unedited and you can watch it. I watched the video the second time and I was like, you know what? These weren't top percent. I've just made so many mistakes in the game that I didn't acknowledge the mistakes itself that have happened. And Beta, I know Beta's on here. Beta has reviewed some of my games before. I've sent him videos for his channel, you know, where I'm like,
oh, they're still fun, yes.
Find a fault in this game, you know, and then when I've watched it, I'm like, God, I've made so many mistakes. And I think that's the issue. I think that's hopefully what we're trying to help in regards to the gameplay reviews. So it'd be interesting, and it's not a critique as such. It's not to go, oh my God, you're a bad killer, but. And as I say, I'll submit some of my games as well if you guys want to sit and watch them. But I think there's a lot of things that we make mistakes, but we blame the game for rather than the mistakes itself.
Let me just
I want to touch on that.
General, yeah.
Just to clarify for people who if you get a game where you felt like you were cheated, those are the games we want to see.
Yeah.
Those are the games where we that's what we want to, because not to say like we want to tell you if you were cheated or not, but like we can give people who have time in this game, we can give you the information of like whether or not like something was genuinely the fault of the game or you, and it's good to know what is your fault so you can improve. Because to say that the Dead by Daylight killer skill cap isn't high, or that you get cut off at one point and the rest of the game's just bullshit, you're hopeless, that point is a lot higher than I think some people say. Rosie would disagree with me. He thinks that like it doesn't take that good of a survivor to take advantage of the game's fucked up mechanics. But I disagree with that. I think that if you do have a game where you feel like you were curb stomped but it wasn't your fault, those are the kind of videos we want to see. Even if you barely scrape out a 2K, those are like the games we want to see, just so we can be like, okay, break it down for you, help you get better. Because I think the community needs like a little bit of a lift in spirits for how they think about the game. As a whole.
And then I think like it's really in the moment thing. You can really feel cheated in the moment.
Yeah.
In the moment, it's the hardest part. That's why I've actually started playing the game off stream a lot more. I think playing the game off stream, especially for a lot of us that actually play the game for we stream it. If you play it off stream and like there's nobody like there to rile you up, tell you that it was the game's fault itself, you can take a way more honest reflection of it. And like the game, to me, like my games that I haven't been streaming it have been sufficiently better than the games where I've streamed it recently. Just I don't know why that is, but like just
you learn more from them.
Yeah, I just think like if you're gonna do it, play it off stream, record the match, no commentary, don't talk.
Yeah.
You know how many times I haven't played the game without talking through a match in like a year. So for me to like sit down and just play without talking or worry about anything else, it was just my experience was very, very different.
Yeah.
Okay, so
don't talk, no commentary in the games, please.
So on the topic of feeling cheated, as we all know, Dead by Daylight for the longest time since launch has been a very, very buggy experience. Let's be honest about that. All right, we could even go just like what 1 or 2 updates ago, like what the
twins.
The kill shack, literally, the twins too. The kill shack literally was raised too high off the floor, and literally you couldn't even the survivor could go through it, but the killer couldn't. Let's see, the time where we couldn't even put a survivor on a hook because you had to just bash the crap out of your button in order for it to hook them. I mean, getting stuck on a vaulting window as a killer, getting stuck where you can't get off it or on it. the time where you get stuck on a rock, or the time where everybody was getting stuck on the rocks in the night villain state. I mean, should I continue down the list of being bullcrapped out of a moment? Or even the current issue today with the Temple of Purgation, where you try to lunge at somebody going up the stairs in the main building, and literally there's like this invisible thing that just like catches you and prevents you from hitting them, and then they jump out the window, and then you go back to the chase again.
Yeah,
I don't even call it bugs anymore.
It's the same with grabs.
Just call it Dark Souls.
How many times do you go to grab someone
too.
off when they're trying to save off a hook or off a gen, and you see the animation, then it just goes off.
Then they put 12 grab people challenges in the tome, baby.
Yeah,
Awesome.
Unbelievable.
So there is a lot of things on there. But what I am conscious, guys, I'm conscious I do need to leave very soon. Darth, are you happy to come back on next week?
Yeah, definitely. I definitely want to be a part of the competitive discussion.
Yeah.
For the tier list. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Whenever we do that, if it's next week or
Can I plug something for that as well? So if you haven't followed, I followed this before he started doing stuff with Ots recently. Xeno DBD, who's on one of the Romania teams and a lot of the other teams on the EU, they recently did, I'm pretty sure most of y'all saw the Ots videos where they were working and like doing like kill your friends and showing the best players and stuff. Yeah. If you actually go back and watch some of Xeno's scrims, that's a really good idea of how like some of the competitive stuff, because they don't even, for their leagues and stuff, they don't even do it to where they like have really generally balanced maps in general. Like they'll just be like a lot of times they'll even play on like some of the Temple of Purgation and stuff like that. And I think it's pretty interesting to see some of the success that some killers you wouldn't think would have. So Xeno DBD is a good follow if you haven't followed him.
Yeah, and Xeno DBD on YouTube or Twitch.
He's on both, but he doesn't upload on YouTube. He's on Twitch. You should be able to find him on Twitter. It's literally XENO and then DBD, and then Super Alpha has been doing some more competitive stuff recently as well.
I'm aware of Super Ralph. Yeah, so he's a nurse, the super nurse.
With the Starstruck videos. My god,
nasty.
I like his videos where he pretends he's rubbish till the last gen pops.
Yes.
Then just slugs them all. Man. Yeah.
I actually learned how to. It's funny you mentioned True Talent. I actually learned how to play from True Talent.
Yeah, me too.
I think most people did.
That was my first. Yeah.
I don't think he gets enough respect in this community.
No, I think
he don't.
I think a lot of people shit on his opinions all the time, and I'm like, I think he's got some really valid points. It was interesting. He did go on. I'm presuming it's going to probably come on YouTube eventually. But him and Ots got together again yesterday on Twitch.
Oh yeah,
really?
Yeah. I didn't even expect it. I just put it.
I missed that.
Yeah.
Oh my
God, that was good.
Hopefully,
it was a good conversation. What were they talking about?
Balance, really, looking at different things, perks, things like that.
I would love to watch that. Oh my god, I had no idea.
I didn't even know myself, and as I said, I just clicked on Twitch, and I was like, oh, Ots is on, and I seen the headline saying Taunton with True. I was like, oh, interesting. So I missed most of it anyway, but I'm sure they'll put it on YouTube anyway.
Yeah, I'm gonna wait till it comes to YouTube.
But yeah, I mean, so anytime I do speak about True, I always say he is the first person I watch for DBD. I've got a lot of respect for the guy, but I do think sometimes people make mistakes, and I just use True as an example because I watch most of his videos, but I'm sure the other content creators have the same issue where probably more likely on Twitch, where people watch him on Twitch, they'll probably make mistakes and not acknowledge it, or maybe try to blame something else like the game rushing or the gen rushing or stuff like that. So I don't think it's exclusive.
I'd be the first person to say the game.
I'll say this about True, and like this is something that I think a lot of people don't consider. But a lot of streamers and stuff like that don't really put their opinions out there as much as True does. And I respect that a lot because it offers a lot of judgment towards him. And I think that's why a lot of people find it so easy to make fun of him, because he makes so many of his opinions known. Yeah. But I guarantee you, some of your favorite streamers, if they gave out their true opinions on some stuff, people would look at them and go like, what the fuck are you talking about? But they don't talk about their opinions. True does.
They know the game's survivor-sided heavily.
Yeah.
But there's been times where I've seen, sorry, I don't mean to drag this out too much, but like, just as an example, I was watching Zubat play the other day, and he genuinely genuinely had the gall to complain that Blight countered holding W. It's like, well, yeah. Like, it's one of those brainless things you can do. Like, maybe it's okay that a killer counters something brainless. You know what I mean? But that's the thing. He gave his opinion once. I disagreed with it. But that didn't make me like him any less. It's just that, people like to judge because, like, he always talks about his opinions. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. People need to acknowledge that it takes bravery to always talk about how you feel.
Yeah, and I did say that on the podcast a few weeks back. I'd much rather see content creators like Scott. I know, as I say, Rosie, I know sometimes you haven't seen eye to eye and you've disapproved on things, but that is just what it's about people having an opinion and discussing them. And I'd much rather hear them say their opinions on things rather than nothing at all.
And judging people who give their opinions, without saying their own.
Scott's been okay as of late. He hasn't set off my time bomb recently.
No.
A lot of his content has just been very much ignorable.
More like Firecracker. I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you.
But yeah. All right. So Darth, as I said, I do apologise if we ran out of time. I know you've probably had a lot more things to speak about, but we'll definitely have you back next week, and we'll discuss this even more with you. Is that okay? And
that's
I say,
fine.
guys, I know some people in the chat have already said they're gonna. What I'll do is I'll put a link in on the Discord server. I'll put a server in for game reviews. So ideally, if you've got a link for it, just pop a link in there, and you're happy for us to go through it. This for everyone, by the way. Then we can go through the game next week. We'll probably review maybe 2, should we say 2 or 3 or something. Depends on the time of the game. If you've been generous and you've finished in 3 minutes, then we'll probably be able to do a few more of those ones. But yeah, so that's it for this week, guys. So thank you very much for all the guests that have come on. Thank you for chat, as always, for all your questions, all your comments, and I will see you